Imagine a criminal so smooth, he managed to sell the Eiffel Tower, not once, but twice. Now imagine that same man, looking the most ruthless mobster in history, Al Capone, dead in the eye, and scamming him out of thousands of dollars, only to leave with a thank you note and Capone's respect. This isn't the plot of a Hollywood heist movie. This is the real, documented life of Count Victor Lustig, a man who possessed no weapons, no army, and no vast fortune. His only weapon? The human mind. He understood that greed makes people blind. He knew exactly how to calculate the risks, manipulate the variables, and exploit the psychological blind spots of the rich and powerful. But how does a boy from a small European town become the most wanted con artist on the planet? How do you fake government documents so perfectly that billionaires hand you suitcases of cash? And more importantly, how did he get away with it for so long? Sit back, because the true story of Victor Lustig is a masterclass in deception. Born in 1890 in Bohemia, Victor was gifted from the start. He spoke 5 languages fluently and possessed a charm that could disarm a king. But instead of pursuing an honest academic life, he realized early on that the world is divided into 2 categories, the predators and the prey. And he had no intention of being eaten. In the early 1900s, the ultimate playground for the ultra-rich were the transatlantic cruise ships traveling between Paris and New York. These floating palaces were filled with wealthy businessmen who had too much money, too much time, and massive egos. Victor transformed himself into Count Victor Lustig. He wore tailored suits, acted like exiled royalty, and never ever approached his victims first. He knew that if you pitch an idea, you look desperate. But if you act like you have a secret, human curiosity will do the rest. By the time the ship docked in New York, Victor was walking away with thousands in borrowed cash or rigged card game winnings. Before his masterpiece in Paris, Victor invented what we could call the 1920s version of an infinite money glitch. He called it the Romanian box. It was a small, beautifully crafted wooden box with complex dials and brass rollers. He would invite a wealthy mark to his hotel room and reluctantly reveal his secret. He claimed the box could duplicate any currency using radium. He would take a real $100 bill, insert it into the machine alongside a blank piece of paper, and turn the crank. He told his victims the chemical process took exactly 6 hours. So they would wait. 6 hours later, Victor turned the dial, and out came 2 flawless $100 bills. What the victim didn't know was that Victor had simply hidden a second, real $100 bill inside the machine beforehand. Blinded by the incredible return on investment, the victims would beg to buy the machine. Once the deal was made for a massive sum, sometimes $30,000, Victor would vanish. By the time the victim realized the machine only produced blank paper after the first preloaded bills ran out, Victor was already in another country. But cheating businessmen wasn't enough. Victor wanted his magnum opus. In 1925, he read a small newspaper article. The Eiffel Tower was rusting and falling apart. It was costing the city of Paris a fortune to maintain. For Victor, this was an asymmetric risk opportunity of a lifetime. The stage was set. He forged incredibly realistic French government stationery and named himself the Deputy Director General of the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. He sent secret letters to the 6 biggest scrap metal dealers in Paris, inviting them to a highly confidential meeting at the luxurious Hôtel de Crillon. He told them a shocking lie. The government had secretly decided to tear down the tower, and they were bidding for 7,000 tons of scrap iron. Victor studied the men. He found his target in André Poisson, a man desperate to make a name for himself in the Parisian elite. To seal the deal, Victor staged a moment of fake vulnerability. He confessed to Poisson that his government salary wasn't enough to support his lifestyle. Poisson instantly understood. This wasn't just an auction, it required a bribe. Bribing a corrupt official was something he understood. It made the whole fake scenario feel real. Poisson handed over a massive bribe and the funds for the scrap metal. Victor took the money, boarded a train to Vienna, and waited for the explosion. But the explosion never came. Poisson was so humiliated that he never went to the police. Realizing his luck, Victor returned to Paris a month later and tried to sell the tower again. But this time, the police were tipped off, and Victor barely escaped. Most men would retire after selling the Eiffel Tower. Victor decided to test his luck against the most dangerous man in America, Al Capone. He convinced Capone to invest $50,000 in a surefire deal. Victor didn't invest a dime. He just put the money in a vault. 2 months later, Victor returned to Capone, looking defeated. He handed the exact $50,000 back, apologizing that the deal had fallen through. Capone was stunned. In his world, people didn't return money. Impressed by Victor's apparent honesty, Capone gave him $5,000 as a reward. Victor walked away with exactly what he wanted from the start, but no winning streak lasts forever. Victor eventually transitioned into massive counterfeiting operations. His fake bills were so good, they threatened the stability of the US economy. In 1935, the Secret Service finally caught up with him. He was sent to Alcatraz, the infamous island prison, where he spent his final days, far away from the luxury hotels and ocean liners he once conquered. Victor Lustig wasn't a violent man, but he was a devastating one. He proved that human psychology, when hacked correctly, is more powerful than any weapon. He didn't just steal money, he stole reality itself. If you enjoyed the story of history's greatest con artist, hit that like button and subscribe. In the next video, we're diving into the genius they tried to erase from history, Nikola Tesla. Until then, keep your eyes open, and don't buy any famous monuments.